What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious, along with Justin Total Package, Craig the British Bulldog, and the Nature Boy Joe, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, Drew McIntyre, 2009. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, and check out exclusive content on Daily Motion at Our Wrestling Podcast. On social media, can you be a doll and give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast. Hey, guys, I know Drew is getting a lot of pull for WrestleMania 40. Is that the only reason why we're talking about Drew in 09? It was a vast difference of what we're seeing today.
I wrote this topic. So on this last one, we're recording this on the previous Monday's Nitro was the now famous, because the ratings were huge, of the Seth, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre three-way promo that they did, where Drew McIntyre was sitting Indian style on the announce table, Punk was in the ring with his little arm brace on because he can't stay healthy, and then Seth Rollins comes down. So we have that going on.
What do you mean?
And one of the lines that they said, Drew McIntyre said, "From the beginning, I was always the chosen one." Now, I wrote this episode 2 weeks ago. We just didn't get to it last week.
Right.
And so I referenced this back because he was referencing this time. Originally, the man whose name we don't speak, Vince McMahon, what came out, and he was still an on-screen character a little bit back here in 09. He came out and said, Drew McIntyre is the prototype. He's the future. He's my chosen one. And that was the death nail, by the way, because Drew McIntyre sucked. Not in the ring, but he sucked.
It's the Austin Theory of 2009.
Yeah, he got pushed hard, and then it failed, and then he did fun stuff that we think fondly back, like the 3-man band and all that stuff. But then he got fired, and then he left and went to TNA, and then when he came back to NXT, he was a totally different Drew. He had a full beard. He put on like 50 pounds of muscle, and he's just a totally different guy, and he's the guy you see now. So it's funny that I laughed on this promo on Raw, because I was like, oh my God, we were supposed to record that episode last week of 2009 Drew, which was reference to when Drew said, I've always been the chosen one. And then Punk's like, go ahead, say his name. Who chose you? Because obviously you can't say his name now.
Fantastic.
But it was a reference back to this first run in the WWF, which was not so great for Drew McIntyre. Ended up becoming wonderful. And he's going to have a big weekend, maybe the biggest WrestleMania match of his career, to be honest, even though he won the pandemic WrestleMania world title, but he always said that I never got to do it in front of a live crowd. So maybe we're going to see him win the title.
I totally forgot about that.
So this episode will release. Yeah. This episode will release after WrestleMania, because I have another episode planned. So after we've all seen WrestleMania, this episode will come out. But hopefully, we're going to be celebrating that Drew McIntyre is the world champion. If not, that's okay too, because I think his run now as a heel, he's been great on social media. He's been really good on the mic. He's finding himself, much like Seth finally found this character that he's enjoying right now a little over a year ago. He's finally finding himself, which I love for Drew. So I'm a big Drew fan, as you can see. I got the shirt on, but he's great.
Claymore right off the face. Cover again on Rollins. McIntyre has won the World Heavyweight Championship.
Here is your winner.
Right now. And he's cashing in right now. Priest is cashing in.
Priest is cashing in. His money in the big contract.
Priest is cashing in the contract. The bell is rung. South the heaven choke slam. Oh my God. By Priest. Priest has won the world title. Priest has won the world title.
He's starting to find a bit of Drew McIntyre that we've never seen, that the crowd is really starting to magnify towards. So it's fun to talk about 2009, I think. So anybody else before I jump in? You guys good? All right. Mr. Galloway signed with WWE in late 2007 and made his official debut on the 12th of October 2007 episode of SmackDown under the modified ring name of Drew McIntyre. He would only be used in lower and mid-card matches there. In 2008, in his short stint on the WWE's main roster, McIntyre was moved to WWE's developmental territory of Florida Championship Wrestling, FCW, which later became NXT, we all know. He would reunite with former partner Stu Sanders and become the Empire, they would win and compete for FCW's Tag Team Championship there. On the 16th of August, the Empire imploded when McIntyre faced Sanders in a singles match, which ended in a double countout, and their rematch at the end of September ended in a time limit draw. Okay. I just have problems with all of that. How are you going to build anybody up when you're doing that shit?
It's a small indie, you know. I think you can find a lot of this stuff too. His Florida Championship Wrestling, Ohio Valley Wrestling, and all that. You can find a lot of it online too.
Was it the same class of like Benjamin and Lesnar and Cena at this point, or was this before then?
No, this was
not before then.
This is after then.
Yeah,
this is way after.
Yeah, Drew's much younger. Yeah, I'm stupid.
Yeah. No, but it's kind of
those guys were in like the 2000 class or something.
Yeah, rub it in, Joe.
Whoa,
like
whoa,
this like 9 years, dude. 9 years.
Yeah, I'm stupid. It's the same time. You're right. Like, just go on.
Just go with it, bro. Just hurry up. On the 7th of October, McIntyre was entered into a contest for the FCW Florida Heavyweight Championship.
Fucking hate you guys.
I love you, buddy. I love you so much. And to make it into the finals,
Dave,
lost
wait,
Eric
repeat what you said, Dave. I'm sorry. Repeat what you said.
Yep.
On the 7th of October, McIntyre was entered into the contest of the FCW Florida Heavyweight Championship and defeated Tuft.
Was that before Hogan slammed Andre or like right after? I'm asking. I'm just asking. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to. Was that when? No.
You know what he said? He said, "Hurry up, Dave." He said, "Hurry up, Dave," and then he said, "Wait a minute. I just have a question."
I thought I like got out of it too because it was a quick like, no, that was way early, and then moving on, and then Joe's like, wait, that was like 9 years.
In all honesty, I do not blame you for getting that timeline mixed up because it was like a blur after WCW got bought, where we're like, wait, when did this happen? Like everything was kind of like in a weird vortex for like 10 years.
It gets weird. It gets weird.
No, he fought the prototype in. No, he didn't. No,
was that before? Was that when Austin and Drew were tag team partners?
Didn't he fight Tito Santana in the opening match WrestleMania 1? I thought. No? Okay. I thought
Get him off the ass,
yeah. I'm kidding, Greg. I'm sorry.
I deserve all this.
Craig, you don't deserve it, and we love you. So McIntyre defeated Tuft to make it to the finals. So he lost to Eric Escobar, the former Eric Perez. No idea who that is. McIntyre closed out the year with an unsuccessful Eric Perez with an unsuccessful attempt to gain the FCW Florida Heavyweight Championship in a 4-way match. Going into 2009, McIntyre entered into a rivalry with Joe Henning, but their first match in February ended in a double countout. This is so stupid. I'm sorry. In NXT now, you don't see this stuff anymore. You might see schmozzes, you might see disqualifications and non-pay-per-views, but you don't see like major events end in double countouts. It just drives me insane. McIntyre interfered.
It's training.
Everybody keeps their heat. You can't scoop their heat.
I gotta change my diaper now. Yeah,
can't scoop the heat with the double count out.
I shit my pants.
We all talked about he doesn't have a beard here. He's a baby. He's got to learn.
He's just a child.
Yeah. Oh God. I forgot where I was here. Okay. McIntyre interfered in Henning's match.
2 lines after Eric Perez.
Thank you. I did get there. McIntyre interfered in Henning's match the following week, costing him that match. On the 26th of February, Henning defeated McIntyre and went on that night to win the FCW Florida Heavyweight Championship from Escobar. Can we just call it the FCW Championship? Why are we saying Florida twice? I don't.
Drew, first, just let me say, we at the network are so proud of you for becoming our champion. Now, you must be up against several challengers. There must be a lot of people coming after.
I'm going to cut you off right there, Fletcher Chase. I'm not here to talk about challenges. I'm here to talk about partying. You see, I moved from Scotland to America because I didn't want to be the big fish in a pond full of losers. I've based myself in LA, Chicago, and New York.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let's talk about Florida. And, you know, I think the main reason why this is so important in like the developmental, why I didn't focus, is like wrestling, especially after WCW got bought and ECW got bought out, there was really no, and even during the Monday Night Wars, there was no territories anymore. That all went out like in the late 80s / early 90s. Mm-hmm. So it's important kind of, you know, like I know that it was trial and error with FCW and Ohio Valley Wrestling, and then they finally decided to open up their own power plant. Well, it's not called the power plant, but it was called the NXT training facility, which they enjoy now, which is state of the art facility. But this is all needed. Like, I can't stress how much, like, when we go back and talk and I do my song, all the best wrestlers go to Japan, it's because everybody traded back and forth. That's so fucking valuable in wrestling. Like, you have to get experiences in different states and different types of audiences, different bookers, different ways to like get your character across. And so this was a weird time in wrestling history from like 2001 and even before that. Like I said, when it was ECW, WCW, and WWE, like in the Monday Night Wars, there was no small independents. It was just those three that you rock back and forth. There might have been small little, like, PWG might have started. I think it started right afterwards or whatever, but nobody knew any. And then after Vince bought everything, like TNA tried, and they were great for a long time, trying to like give, men and women a place to work. But like, this is really important. Like, in 2009, WWF at least was trying. You had people like Cornette that worked for him. I'm not saying Cornette was there at this time, but like, and even Bruce Pritchard and a bunch of other people that worked for him are like, we need fucking feeder systems. Jim Ross was really big on, we need fucking feeder systems, man. Like, we can't just buy Purge because once ECW went out and they were done stealing from them, like, it was like, who do we got now? You bought WCW and the ECW. What the fuck are we doing? And it was just one style of wrestling in town. That's why a lot of wrestling fans got jaded and bored, like during the 2001 to 2010 and on, because it became PG. Vince could do that because Vince is like, what else are you gonna watch? You're just gonna stop watching wrestling.
Vince was not working with any kind of Japan affiliate whatsoever. That was not.
And he never did that. So it's amazing that I'm really like that we're talking about Drew in this light, because even though nobody fucking knows, like, who so and so was that Dave just read and all that, like, and Craig doesn't remember what year it was, but like it. But I mean, like, it's important. It's super important.
Why?
What?
Why you gotta keep?
It's all in jest. It's all just in jokey.
Twisting that knife, dude.
But it's important because like this is all he had. So I know Dave's getting enraged by double countouts, and there's a lot of them apparently. That's just what this promotion did, was like all matches and double countouts like the whole time. But I mean, like, Drew needed this, and even though he still failed when we're going to get to the year that we're talking about, it was just it's so needed. And now that we have all these different promotions today, like, it's going to, in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to be like, that's why all this was needed. We're going to see these well-rounded stars and these well-rounded people. Now all they have to do is trade. When Rick Rude would jump back and forth, we knew who Rick Rude was. We knew it. So like when he would go to WWF and then WCW, I'm like, that's still Rick Rude. And like, he would just be like, now I want those. Yeah, I want the stars to be so big when they jump. It's like, ooh, that's a game changer. Oh, like, and we're going to get that very soon. We're kind of getting it now, but I mean, like, it's really important here. To me, I was like, man, like, there was no fucking training facility. There was no fucking place.
And I know we got to knock this out, but we're evolving so much. Like, Shayna Baszler's going to, or she didn't already get there, but she was going to go on an independent and do a little work there, and she's still signed with WWE, and it's a big deal to like.
You don't think every amateur that she's working with on that card is gonna fucking learn something from her? Like, and it's all gonna cross promote. It's all gonna fucking finally flow in together.
Yeah. It's all happening, and we definitely have contact with Japan now.
And Drew might be the earliest example of that, because you're going to read on, and then I only cover this 1 year, but we talked about earlier in the episode about how he left, he came back to NXT, and now look at him. So it's like it does matter. Cody is another fucking shining example of like, you got to go away. You got to go away and figure out who you are and come back and work for people, and then come back and you're like, I get it. I get all of this now. I understand.
Yep. So the feud between Hennig and McIntyre ended abruptly because Hennig had to vacate the title from an injury, causing McIntyre to be elevated into a title contendership, beating Escobar for the vacant championship on the 19th of March.
So I'm stupid because that might be Curtis Axel, but I don't know.
Escobar?
I think Curtis Axel's real name is Joe.
Oh, Hennig.
I think his real name is Joe.
Is,
I think that's Curtis Axel, Kurt Hennig's son. Yeah. I could be wrong.
You're right. And McIntyre regularly defended that title until the 11th of June, when Tyler Rex, the former Gabe Tuft, won the title in his second attempt. On the 28th of August in 2009, McIntyre re-debuted on the SmackDown brand, disregarding his previous time on WWE television, and established himself as a heel by attacking R-Truth That's phenomenal. R-Truth has been here now and been here before, and he's still here today. Just calling that out.
R-Truth was around in 99.
Wow.
Him and Road Dogg were a tag team.
Right. Using his double underhook DDT
maybe.
finishing move, the Scott Drop, soon renamed Future Shock. McIntyre continued to attack Truth over the following weeks. It's an easy target, apparently, claiming to be one of the on the show to wrestle, not party like R-Truth. And here's where the death touch comes in. On the 25th of September, WWE Chairman Mr. McMahon introduced McIntyre as his future world champion that he personally signed, after which Truth made a return attack against McIntyre. Vince got it right one time. Hogan was his guy. Every time after that where he claimed someone was the champions.
This man, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a future world heavyweight champion. This man's attitude can be summed up with the phrase, he is simply badass. And I would imagine he doesn't appreciate Oklahoma any more than I do. With that in mind, allow me to introduce you from Scotland. Here is Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, no, I'm saying where he actually all the said,
goddamn time.
Okay, so remember the guy that was doing, cartwheels and backflips? That's my next world champion, and that never panned out. I don't remember the guy's name, but Bret Hart found a video in his basement somewhere to show us the match. McGee, there you go. And then he did it here, and then he did it to Austin Theory. And guess what? None of that stuff, when he actually goes out on a limb and says, this is my guy, when they're not established, it doesn't, nobody likes it. Vince.
It never works at all. It never works at all.
It's just too much.
I don't even know what the appeal with that would be. It's just because you say it doesn't mean that it happens. It's like,
right.
Really? Vince likes him. We must like him then. It's like,
and if a billionaire tells you it's going to happen, people are going to be like, I don't want that to happen. Like,
look at Roman.
If anything, it should be an automatic heel turn.
Yeah.
Look at Roman when it was crammed, right, as a face.
Yeah, and I guess it wasn't Vince saying this is my guy, but it basically we knew it was the guy.
Yeah.
He said it without saying it. It's another example. To your point, Greg. On the 4th of October at a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, McIntyre defeated R-Truth in under 5 minutes using his DDT finisher. That's just mean. At Survivor Series on the 22nd of November, McIntyre had a place on the Miz's team for the traditional Survivor Series elimination match. McIntyre, Miz, and his former rival Sheamus were the surviving members, and on their winning team, McIntyre eliminated Evan Bourne and Matt Hardy. Being the only SmackDown superstar to survive against Team Morrison, McIntyre faced and defeated John Morrison a few weeks later, putting him in line for Morrison's Intercontinental Championship at TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs event. Days before the event, Morrison mocked McIntyre's Scottish heritage by dressing as a Braveheart-inspired William Wallace. But at TLC on the 13th of December, McIntyre pinned Morrison after a thumb to the eye. Okay. To win the Intercontinental Championship, his first championship ever in WWE. And we have a picture of it here. Just might show it with that shitty Intercontinental title that nobody likes.
Hate that title.
Get rid of it. Illegal. Move! What about that? Well, referee didn't see it because the referee was busy tossing that belt out of the ring. Doing his job. McIntyre took advantage. Thumbs to the eyes. Oh, boy. Hang on a second. Oh! Beautiful Scott drop. Could this be it for the chosen one? That double underhook DDT could make McIntyre a champion. Crawls to the cover. Hooks the leg. Shoulders down. Yes! He does it. McIntyre wins his first major singles championship. Here is your winner and the new Intercontinental Champion, Drew McIntyre.
It's terrible. He retained that title against Morrison on the 1st of January in 2010 episode of SmackDown, and against Kane on the 22nd of February at Elimination Chamber using underhand tactics. He would eventually lose that title after 161 days as champions. No small feat there. On May 23rd of 2010 to Kofi Kingston.
So
easy.
He won the Intercontinental Championship when he was deemed Vince's boy and all that stuff. So he had it's not like nobody was pushing him. Yeah. And I remember living through it going, it's just not working. It's not working. And I didn't care for him. And then he stopped getting pushed, obviously, after a while. Eventually he form the 3-man band with Heath Slater and all them because like they were desperate and they made chicken salad out of chicken shit and they still let him go. And then it's just an old tale, right? Like he had to go.
He was the last
tale
one
as old as time.
But by the way,
he was the last one of the 3-man band to make it back. Like the other two made it back before.
Yeah, it's a scary time in wrestling at this time because when you get released before, like in the 80s, you can go anywhere. You can go to Bill Watts, you can go to fucking Crockett, you can go wherever.
But at that point, there was nowhere to go.
When you're released here and you just go to TNA, and by the way, when he finally got released, and I think it was like way later, like 2013 or something, because 1-man band or 3-man band was a little after 09. So like he got released. TNA was not, the TNA crashed and Dixie sold it and it was awful. And like they were just trying to rebuild their thing. So he had to go to a depleted TNA, which got like 200,000 viewers every week. And like he had to go and kind of redo his thing. And then he finally fucking got back with the WWF and then signed with NXT and then was there for a couple years. And like, yeah, like he fought through an injury there, I think too. And so like Drew had to really come back and fight, like, you know, and that's a scary time to get released. Again, you get released in the 70s and 80s, no fucking problem. I'll go talk to Vern. I'll go talk to Vince. I'll go talk to Crockett. I'll go talk to Bill Watts. I'll go talk to whoever, like, you know, but here, like, that's scary, like getting released. And then TNA's not what it was when Jeff Jarrett owned it and Dixie owned it and it was depleted. And like, it was just, they probably didn't pay anybody anything. And it was just like, I got to stay on TV. I have to stay relevant. And so like, props to him because like he figured out like how to stay relevant in the United States and then get back to NXT.
When you think about 3-man band, one never left, right? He just like, I got kids, right? And then Jinder Mahal left and came back and became a huge superstar, and won the world title, got jacked. And then we talk much later because I think Drew's the youngest of all of them, right? He was just a kid and has come back and is probably, well, no, not probably. He has built a better career than the other two.
Oh, easily.
And it just took longer. So it's quite a feat when you think about it. Just to your point, it's amazing, you know. And good for Drew. And I'm loving what he's doing today. We just talked about it on Unscripted before this recording. The things he's doing, the shirts he's wearing, even though like Punk's like, I never had to put someone else on my shirt. I'm like, yeah, but you know,
yes, he did,
and he did. You know, and I'm just, you know, Drew also doesn't have to rely on Chicago to get him, you know, cheers, but whatever. That's okay. At the same time, Drew is over there wearing one shirt, tearing out the next one, and he says, I don't know why it's a line that we didn't even drop it on scripted. He said, had trouble getting that one off with my biceps. I guess you never had that problem, Punk, did you? And I was like, that's perfect. Because Drew is, I mean, we see Drew in the 2009 photo, and he's still in phenomenal shape as a kid.
Sure.
I don't like to say kid. He's a man
in comparison.
But he's tiny in comparison. He's not tiny, but he's tiny in comparison to what he is now. 50 pounds of muscle is a huge transformation, and he looks like a goddamn beast.
He's just perfectly chiseled. Yeah.
He's amazing. And he knows it, and he's starting to get his dialogue in, and he finally got rid of the stupid fucking sword, which I'm so happy about. And I mean, I could do without the kilt as well. Hopefully that goes away. It's just him on his merit and his mic work. And if he gets there, it's going to be great. It'll be the next line of great performers. You know, you had The Rock and you had Triple H and you had Stone Cold. Now you have Seth Rollins and you have Roman, and Drew could be that next guy to be at that not the upper echelon, but the top. And I think he's close. I mean, he's already got the world title, but he got the world title with a push. He's now at the point where he can push himself, and I think he's getting there. It's quite a difference from 09, but what a learning echelon of time that he took. And a lot of people would give up and be in that negativity, like, oh, I suck, they don't want me. But he just pursued through. And
I think he freely agrees that he needed to go away and that he wasn't the best, and he just kind of took it for granted.
You have to. You fucking have to.
For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, and check out exclusive content by Jess on Daily Motion at Our Wrestling Podcast. On social media, can you give us a sweet follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? Hey, come on, man. This is different from many other podcasts. This is better. It's the best podcast. Joe said it's the best podcast in the world.
It's all your dumb piece of shit.
I have to agree. For the O.W.P, this is Craig, Jess, Joe, not Cuz, myself, Jess, signing off. Have a good
You said Jess twice.
Jess.